Hey folks, welcome to today's video. Today we are showcasing a little speedy lab farmer for those that maybe enjoy lab farming. So as you can see, this is our speedy little labber. By no means the fastest labber of all time, but it's pretty rapid. It's pretty rapid considering that there's no mechanics going on here. The flasks last basically forever, and I don't really have to do anything other than just hold run, which is what you want when you're in the lab. You don't want to do a super complicated thing. You just want to switch your brain off and chill, right? So the general idea behind the build is, yes, it's not the fastest Uber labber ever, but it works. It's simple to get going. And you can see, you know, it's not one of these ones that's super squishy. It has defense and stuff like that. And the whole premise of it was just to be like, look, if I'm interested in doing a bit of lab farming, what's a build that's not super obnoxiously fast to the point where I lose my character and I'm just not generally enjoying playing? Because there are some ones that are just so fast that for me, I just think like it really doesn't, it just doesn't intrigue me, or like it's just not something for me. We're using Toxic Rain. You can put some totems up. There's no gear swaps or anything like that. We have Malevolence on Blessing, and you can see that pretty quickly he gets ticked down and he's done. It's fast. It's not like there's some weird combination that you have to do. I've killed Guardians on this. You know, you can go and play this in maps if you want. There's no reason why you can't. So here's an Azaro kill. You can see it's pretty nice deeps. And yeah, I just wanted to be able to jog through, enjoy myself, not be worrying about deaths or getting one shot to a trap or anything like that. Because I do enjoy a bit of Uber Lab farming, and I know some people do too. I know some people hate the Uber Lab, but I generally find it kind of chill. Like if it's a good lab day and I'm a little bit bored of mapping, it's always nice to have an alternative, something to do. You know, some people farm bosses, some people do magic find. When I'm bored and I've ran out of things to do and it's a nice lab day, I'll just go do some Uber Labs and see if I get lucky. Maybe I'll try and enchant my own gear for a helmet or a, you know, a boot run or something like that. So you can see it's nice and zoomy. I'm not pressing any flasks. My flasks are nice and automated. The only one I'm pressing is my Quicksilver, but you can automate that. I've just been lazy and I forgot to automate that one. So I'm having to press my Quicksilver for this demonstration, but you can automate that. And we are zooming through. It's very nice. There's no risk of dying. There's no crazy swaps or anything like that. The Quicksilver basically lasts for the whole duration. And the passive tree, like I say, it's Toxic Rain. I'll run you through all the gear and stuff like that, but I figured it's best to give you a demonstration because, well, otherwise, you know, if you don't like the actual look of the build, you're not going to want to play it, are you? So I'll admit, I haven't taken this into any of the super big Uber Labs, you know, the Gift of the Goddess, but if it can kill a Guardian, and I'm having no trouble here, I don't see why it couldn't. Now, price-wise, some of the gear you're going to look at is a little bit expensive, but that doesn't mean at all that this is the gear that you need to make the build function in this way. And I'll run you through all of that good stuff. So, again, I know I'm waffling here, but I think there's no point showing you all the gear and POB if you don't like the playstyle. So you can see this is kind of how it works. And then once I've killed this and I've had a good enchant, hopefully, we'll run you through the gear. And obviously, if this was helpful to you, consider leaving a like and a comment and all that stuff. I just wanted to make a labber. I couldn't find any guides that suited what I wanted to do. They were either completely min-maxed reverse chill speed builds, or they were just super tanky juggernauts, and I didn't really want to do that. So the gear we've got, and the decent thing about this build is everything is deterministically crafted. There's no way you can't make the same gear that I have got. It's literally deterministic. And I will say that until I had this bow, this was done, and I'm not bullshitting you here because that's not what my channel's about. This was done with a white bow, and where my empower was, I had enduring extra duration. The quiver, it just had the 2 dot multi-rolls. The only difference that it's got now is attack speed, which is pretty irrelevant for labbing, life, which is irrelevant, and it's got 6% move speed, which in the grand scheme of things is irrelevant, so it's just those 2 rolls. My diadem doesn't have an enchant. The gloves basically just have +1 AoE, Again, spell suppression cap in the lab isn't really important. So, you know, you can knock off all the spell suppress gear. This is just because I was bored in the league and I like to make gear. The belt was a hunter belt. And the only really relevant things here, because we're a Pathfinder, is the flask effect, really, and duration's kind of nice, and they're super, super cheap. If you want to look for duration and flask effect, 10C, 50C, and you can make these no problem. 4, 5, 6C, you know, you put it on one of these, 10, 20, 60, it's not expensive. The boots were just 35 move speed, and the reason these cost so much was because, again, spell suppression, because I wanted to actually do some end game stuff. But again, for labbing, it's not necessary, and trust me, I've done them with the 50 move speed, 7 league steps. It's the same. So the way we're working it is void manipulation, toxic grain, efficacy, mirage archer, and then the empower. Again, this was duration. So you can use a level 3 one, and the bow is giving it +2, but you don't need the bow. Vicious projectiles, and then the totems that we're spewing out are toxic grain, withering touch, ballista, efficacy, ballista, and multiple totems. And the amulet is just a +1 chaos one with some life, and I needed some lightning res. And then I enchanted Avatar of the Hunt, which is this node here, because it's move speed. So basically, the tree started off as just your generic caustic arrow / toxic rain, and I just got rid of every node until I felt my damage was fine. So I haven't taken a lot of nodes. I've basically just got these damage nodes here, and everything else is pretty much pathing down. I have... This is giving me some move speed. This was done with a timeless jewel calculator. So this is giving me some move speed on these nodes. This little cluster jewel was 5C. It just gives me Alchemist Genius, which is flask effect. And then I'm traveling down here and just taking like flask duration and effect and movement speed. So obviously if you were playing this as a mapper, you wouldn't have all this movement speed, but I just figured I'd take it. And then I picked this up for, I think it was like 100C. It was move speed whilst affected with grace. And the auras were running. And actually, that whole time, I didn't even have grace on. So I'd be even faster because I was missing a lot of move speed there. So there you go. You don't, as you can see, you don't even need the Enlighten because I did that without even running grace. So there you go. It will be even faster and you'll be even safer because you'd actually have evasion. Whoops. But... that's the build. There'll be a POB, and basically if you want to mess about with this POB, the general idea was just get enough damage till you can kill Azaro. My DPS was around 200k. Since it's got to like 455, but at 200k Azaro was really comfortable, and then since then obviously I've leveled up. I've bought awakened gems and empowers. But it's all just, it doesn't matter in the lab because you don't need a ton of gear to sort of do the lab. That's the whole point. If you're interested in how I crafted the bow, see that there was a Steel Mage video and he explains it all on how to craft it with no issues. So if you want this gear, he'll explain it. But I just wanted to use up my currency in the league. So I've obviously put a little bit more money into it with the empowers and like the crafted gear. But this is the general idea. You sprint through the lab. And it's pretty chill. So I thought I'd post this up because there's no up-to-date lab guides with something that's pretty quick and decent. It's either super, super fast labber or like Juggernaut. And I feel like this is a happy medium. And the flasks are obviously important. So I've gone for a cheetah flask, which was 10C. And then I augmented duration. And then I've used increase effect with an enkindling orb, sorry. I've got phasing because that gives move speed, and well, it will give move speed eventually if I take this node, which is like somewhere down here. It's like move speed while phasing. I might end up taking that, not sure. But that just allows you to run through packs, which makes the whole labbing process easier. This one gives me onslaught, which is obviously attack and move speed. And then I've got an armor flask, which I probably could get rid of. Maybe I can find if anyone's got a good idea for a fast flask, but armor's pretty useful in the lab, obviously, so the traps don't chunk you, and with the amount of effectiveness we have, pretty big tankiness. That's it really. Rings just resists. This is also resists. Just trying to cap myself. That's it. So